The transport ship's engines hummed as it approached the massive space station. Do-hyun Kim stood at the viewing window, his hands bound by energy cuffs that glowed soft blue. The station looked like a giant metal flower floating in space, with 6 large arms stretching out from a central hub. This was the Galactic Correctional Facility, home to the most dangerous criminals in the known universe. Do-hyun wasn't worried. He had faced worse situations during his time in Earth's special forces. The crime they charged him with, using excessive force while defending Earth's outer colony, was a joke. He had simply done what was needed to protect innocent people. "Move away from the window, human," the guard said. The guard was tall and thin, with gray skin and large black eyes. Like most aliens, he kept his distance from Do-hyun. Everyone knew about Earth, the death world, that somehow produced intelligent life, despite its crushing gravity and deadly environment. The guard led Do-hyun through the airlock and into the prison's processing area. The room was filled with strange smells and the sound of different alien languages. Other prisoners, wearing orange jumpsuits, stared at him with their various eyes, tentacles, and sensory organs. Some moved away when they saw him. Others whispered to each other, pointing at the human in their midst. "Processing room 3, the guard said, pushing Do-hyun toward a small medical bay. Inside, a female human in a white coat looked up from her computer screen. Her name tag read Dr. Park Yuna. "Another human," she said, raising her eyebrows. "That's rare. We only have 2 others in the whole facility." She picked up a medical scanner and walked over to Do-hyun. "I'm Dr. Park," she said in Korean, surprising him. "I'll be doing your medical checkup. Hold still, please." She began scanning him, and her eyes widened at the readings. "Fascinating," she muttered. "Bone density 30% above galactic standard. Muscle fiber count twice the average. And your cellular regeneration rate." She stopped herself and smiled. "Sorry, I get excited about human biology. We're quite unique out here." "So I've noticed," Do-hyun said, watching as an 8-legged alien shuffled past the door, taking the long way around to avoid coming near the medical bay. "They're afraid of us," Yuna said quietly. "Can't blame them. Most species evolved on worlds with lower gravity, fewer predators, and more stable environments. Earth," she shook her head, "Earth should have killed us. Instead, it made us stronger." A loud crash came from outside, followed by angry shouting. Through the door, Do-hyun saw a large alien with red scales and sharp ridges along its spine, shoving smaller prisoners out of its way. The other prisoners cowered and moved aside. "That's Rekthor," Yuna said. "He runs the biggest gang in here. Watch out for him. He likes to test new prisoners, especially ones he thinks might challenge his authority." Do-hyun nodded, but he wasn't concerned. He had studied the alien species in the facility during his transport. Rekthor's kind evolved on a low-gravity world. They looked scary, but their bones were brittle compared to human standards. Their muscles, while large, weren't made for sustained fighting. "All done," Yuna said, finishing her scans. "The guard will take you to your cell now." "But Do-hyun," she looked around to make sure no one was listening. "Be careful. Your body might be stronger than theirs, but there are 3,000 prisoners in here, and most of them have never met a human before. They only know the stories about the creatures from the death world who can survive almost anything." Do-hyun smiled slightly as the guard returned to take him to his cell. Let them have their stories. He knew the truth. Humans weren't special because they were stronger or tougher. They were special because they had learned to survive against impossible odds. And if anyone in this prison wanted to test that survival instinct, they would learn why Earth was called a death world. As the cell door closed behind him, Do-hyun looked out at the stars through the small window. Somewhere out there was Earth, the planet that had forged humanity in fire and gravity. The planet that had taught them to never give up, never surrender, and always find a way to survive. Welcome to hell. No, he had grown up on Earth. This wasn't hell. This was just another challenge to overcome. The first week in the Galactic Correctional Facility passed slowly. Do-hyun learned the prison's daily routine. Wake up at station time 600, breakfast at 700, yard time at 1000, lunch at 1300, free time at 1500, dinner at 1800, and lights out at 2200. The routine was simple, but the politics were not. During mealtimes, Do-hyun watched how different species grouped together in the mess hall. The tall, gray-skinned Arvarians sat near the windows, their long fingers picking at food that looked like glowing moss. The squat, rocky Kelchans clustered near the kitchen, grinding their crystalline food between tooth plates. And at the center table, surrounded by his gang, sat Rekthor. "The Red One watches you," said a quiet voice. Do-hyun turned to see a small, blue-skinned alien sitting next to him. The alien had 4 arms and spoke in a whisper. "I am Pip. I clean the medical bay. Dr. Park says you are from Earth." Do-hyun nodded, continuing to eat his specially prepared human-safe food. The prison kitchen had to make different meals for each species. Some ate metals, others needed toxic gases, and a few even ate pure energy. "Is it true?" Pip asked, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence. "About Earth. They say your world has. What is the word? Earthquakes. That the ground moves and splits open." "Yes," Do-hyun said. "We call them natural disasters. We also have storms, floods, and volcanoes." Pip's skin changed color slightly, showing his fear. "And you survive these things. How?" "We adapt," Do-hyun said simply. He noticed Rekthor standing up at his table, his red scales gleaming under the artificial lights. The gang leader started walking toward them, his clawed feet clicking on the metal floor. Pip disappeared so quickly that Do-hyun barely saw him move. The surrounding tables emptied as Rekthor approached, his gang members spreading out to block any escape routes. "Deathworlder," Rekthor said, his voice a deep rumble. "I've been learning about your kind. They say you can break bones with your bare hands, that your skin can heal from cuts in days instead of months, that you can run for hours without stopping." Do-hyun continued eating, not looking up. He could feel the tension in the room growing. The other prisoners had gone quiet, watching the confrontation. "They also say," Rekthor continued, leaning closer, "that you're violent, unpredictable, that your world is so harsh, it makes your kind crazy. Is that true, little human?" Do-hyun finally looked up. He remembered what his combat instructor had taught him. Most alien species didn't understand human facial expressions. A smile to them was just a showing of teeth, so Do-hyun smiled. Rekthor stepped back quickly, his gang members shifting nervously. They had expected anger, fear, or defiance. The human's calm smile confused them. "You know what I think is crazy?" Do-hyun said quietly. "I think it's crazy that someone who evolved on a low-gravity world with bones that would snap under Earth's gravity is trying to intimidate a Deathworlder." The mess hall went completely silent. Even the kitchen staff stopped working to watch. Rekthor's scales darkened with anger, but Do-hyun saw the uncertainty in his eyes. 3 days, Rekthor growled. "You have 3 days to show proper respect, or we'll teach you how things work in here." He turned and walked away, his gang following. As the noise level in the mess hall slowly returned to normal, Pip reappeared at Do-hyun's table. "You should not have done that," he said nervously. "Rekthor never forgets an insult." "Good," Do-hyun said, finishing his meal. "Because I meant every word." Later, in the medical bay for his follow-up checkup, Do-hyun told Yuna what had happened. She shook her head while checking his vital signs. "Your readings are even stronger than last week," she said. "It's fascinating. The high-stress environment is actually improving your physical condition. Most species get weaker under stress. Earth taught us differently," Do-hyun said. "Pressure doesn't break us. It makes us stronger." Yuna looked at him seriously. "Just be careful. Rekthor may be physically weaker, but he didn't become the prison's top dog by being stupid. He'll have a plan. Do-hyun nodded. He would be ready. After all, compared to surviving on Earth, surviving in prison was simple. All he had to do was what humans had always done: adapt, overcome, and survive. 3 days passed quickly in the Galactic Correctional Facility. Do-hyun spent this time watching and learning. He noticed how Rekthor's gang controlled the prison through fear and small acts of violence. They took the best food from weaker prisoners. They claimed the most comfortable spots in the yard. They forced others to give up their recreation time. On the morning of the 4th day, Do-hyun sat in his usual corner of the mess hall. His breakfast sat untouched in front of him as he watched Rekthor's gang enter. There were 12 of them today, more than usual. They carried themselves differently too, tense, ready for action. "They will hurt you badly," Pip whispered from nearby. The small blue alien looked worried. "I heard them planning. They have weapons made from broken metal pipes." Do-hyun nodded slightly. "You should leave, Pip. This won't be pretty." Pip hesitated. "Dr. Park asked me to watch out for you. She is worried." "Tell her not to be," Do-hyun said quietly. "On Earth, we have a saying: the calm before the storm. Right now, we're in the calm." As if on cue, Rekthor's gang surrounded Do-hyun's table. The other prisoners quickly moved away, creating an empty space around them. Even the guards at the doors stepped back. They had dealt with enough prison fights to know when one was coming. 3 days, Rekthor said, his scales shining with angry red colors. "I gave you 3 days to learn respect. Instead, you continued to ignore me, to act like you're better than us." He pulled out a sharpened piece of metal from his sleeve. "Time to learn your place, Deathworlder." Do-hyun finally looked up from his breakfast. He remembered his training officer's words. Humans have 3 advantages in a fight. First, we're stronger than we look. Second, we're faster than anyone expects. Third, we can take hits that would kill most species. "Last chance," Do-hyun said calmly. "Walk away." Rekthor roared and swung his weapon. But Do-hyun wasn't there anymore. He had already moved, faster than the alien's eyes could follow. This was the first advantage: human reaction speed. Do-hyun grabbed Rekthor's arm and squeezed. The alien's bones cracked under his grip. This was the second advantage: human strength, built by evolution on a high-gravity world. Rekthor's gang members attacked all at once. Do-hyun felt hits on his back and sides. On their worlds, these blows would cripple someone. But Earth's gravity had made human bones dense as steel. This was the third advantage: human toughness. The fight lasted exactly 2 minutes. When it ended, Rekthor and his gang lay on the floor, groaning in pain. Do-hyun stood in the middle, breathing slightly harder than normal. He had a few cuts and bruises, but nothing serious. The mess hall was completely silent. Hundreds of aliens stared at him with various types of eyes, tentacles, and sensory organs. They had just watched a single human defeat 13 opponents without using any weapons. "Listen carefully," Do-hyun said, his voice carrying in the silence. "I don't want to control the prison. I don't want your food or your recreation time. I just want to serve my time in peace. But if anyone else wants to test themselves against a Deathworlder..." He looked around the room. "Remember this day." He walked to the medical bay, knowing he should get his cuts checked. Yuna was waiting for him, medical scanner already in hand. "Pip told me what was happening," she said, checking his injuries. 12 broken bones, 8 concussions, and 3 cracked scales. "You held back, didn't you?" Do-hyun nodded. "They're not used to their bones breaking so easily. On Earth, we learn to be careful with other species. Our normal strength can hurt them badly." Yuna smiled as she treated a cut on his arm. "You know, I'm starting to think Earth didn't just make us stronger. It made us smarter too. You fought just hard enough to end the threat, but not hard enough to make enemies for life." That's because Earth taught us something else, Du Hyun said. The strongest survive, but the wisest thrive. As he left the medical bay, Du Hyun knew things would be different now. The prison hadn't just seen a fight. They had seen why humans were called Deathworlders. And sometimes that kind of understanding was worth more than any victory. A week after the fight, Du Hyun sat in the medical bay as Yuna ran her daily scans. The room hummed with the soft sound of medical equipment. Through the window, they could see the stars and the curved edge of a nearby gas giant, its purple clouds swirling endlessly. Your healing rate is remarkable, Yuna said, looking at her screens. The cuts from the fight are already gone. No scars. She pulled up more data. But that's not the most interesting part. Look at this. She showed Du Hyun a chart of his body readings. Even with his basic medical training, he could see the changes. His muscle density had increased. His bone structure had become even stronger. His reflexes were faster. You're getting stronger, Yuna explained. The artificial gravity in the prison is only 0.8 of Earth's gravity. Your body is treating it like rest time, building itself up. It's like watching evolution in action. Is that why you run so many tests? Du Hyun asked. To study human adaptation. Yuna nodded slowly. Humans are unique in the galaxy. Most species need special suits to survive on worlds different from their home planets. But humans... She touched the screen, bringing up images of various Earth environments. Humans can live in freezing mountains, burning deserts, thick jungles, and open plains. We adapt to anything. And that scares them, Du Hyun said, thinking about how the other prisoners still kept their distance. It amazes them, Yuna corrected. Look at this. She showed him another screen. It was a medical report about Rekthor and his gang. Their bones are healing twice as fast as normal for their species. The doctor treating them can't explain it. I don't understand, Du Hyun said. Yuna smiled. Their bodies are adapting, trying to become stronger to match their environment. Just being around humans is pushing their evolution forward. We're not just Deathworlders, Du Hyun. We're catalysts for change. Their conversation was interrupted by a loud alarm. Red lights flashed in the corridor outside. Through the medical bay window, they saw prisoners running in the yard. Prison riot in Block C, announced a mechanical voice. All medical personnel prepare for casualties. Security teams respond immediately. Yuna quickly gathered her medical supplies. Block C is where they keep the most dangerous prisoners, she said. The ones even Rekthor stays away from. Du Hyun stood up. You'll need protection to treat the injured. I'll come with you. No, Yuna said firmly. You're still a prisoner. If you get involved. I'm a human, Du Hyun interrupted. Like you said, we adapt to anything. Right now, you need protection, and I need to show them that humans can be more than just fighters. Yuna looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. They hurried toward Block C, passing guards running with stun weapons. The sounds of fighting grew louder. One more thing, Yuna said as they ran. My research shows something else about humans. Our greatest strength isn't our bodies. What is it then? Du Hyun asked. Our ability to care, she said. Other species evolved to be stronger or faster. But humans? We evolved to work together, to protect each other. That's why Earth couldn't kill us. We never fought alone. As they reached Block C and saw the chaos ahead, Du Hyun understood. He wasn't just a Deathworlder anymore. He was a human, and humans were more than their strength. They were defined by their choices. And right now, he chose to protect. Block C was chaos. Prisoners fought with makeshift weapons while guards tried to restore order. The air filled with strange smells as different species released stress chemicals. Through the smoke and confusion, Du Hyun protected Yuna as she moved from patient to patient. Behind you, Yuna shouted. Du Hyun turned to see a massive creature with tentacles swinging a metal bar at his head. He caught the bar with one hand, crushing it in his grip. The creature backed away quickly. 3 injured over here, called a guard. Do-hyun helped Yuna reach them safely. She worked quickly, treating wounds that would be fatal to their species, but seemed minor to human eyes. The riot leaders are in the cafeteria. Another guard reported through the radio. They've taken hostages. Do-hyun looked at Yuna. She nodded, understanding his unspoken question. Go. I'll be safe here with the guards. He ran toward the cafeteria, moving faster than any of the aliens around him. Earth's gravity had made human muscles incredibly powerful. What looked like sprinting to others felt like jogging to him. In the cafeteria, he found 5 large aliens holding several smaller prisoners hostage. He recognized them as drachnids, a species known for their strength and bad temper. But they had evolved on a world with 1/3 of Earth's gravity. Another step, and we'll kill them, the lead drachnid warned, holding a sharp weapon against a hostage's throat. Let me tell you what's going to happen, Do-hyun said calmly. In about 2 minutes, I'm going to stop you. Some of you will get hurt, but if you put down your weapons now, I'll make sure you get medical treatment. The drachnids laughed. You? A single human? Yes, Do-hyun said. A single human. A Deathworlder. Someone whose bones can take 10 times the pressure your species can handle. Someone who can run for hours while you get tired in minutes. Someone who heals in days what takes you months. He took a step forward. But that's not what you should be afraid of. You should be afraid because I'm a human who's trying to be nice. We're not just strong. We're smart enough to give you a chance to surrender. One of the drachnids looked nervous. They say humans can survive things that kill most species, that they fight better when they're hurt. Want to find out if that's true? Do-hyun asked quietly. The next 2 minutes went exactly as he had predicted. When it was over, the hostages were free, and the drachnids lay on the floor, groaning but alive. Do-hyun had kept his promise. He'd been careful not to cause any permanent damage. Later, in the medical bay, Yuna treated a small cut on his arm, while guards took statements from the freed hostages. You could have killed them easily, she said. Why didn't you? Because that's the real difference between humans and others, Do-hyun explained. We can be deadly, but we choose when not to be. Earth taught us to be strong, but it also taught us to be wise. Suddenly, Pip rushed into the medical bay. Big trouble, the small alien said. Rekthor is telling everyone you only beat the drachnids because they were weak. He's challenging you to a real fight, one-on-one, to the end. Do-hyun saw Yuna's worried look. Don't worry, he said. Earth taught us something else too, how to finish things once and for all. As news of the challenge spread through the prison, Do-hyun remained calm. The other prisoners didn't understand. They thought this would be a fight about strength. But Do-hyun knew better. This would be a lesson about what humans really were, not just survivors of a death world, but teachers who could show others a better way. The prison yard became an arena. Prisoners of all species gathered in a circle, their various eyes, sensors, and sensory organs fixed on the center. Guards stood at the edges, weapons ready but not interfering. Even they wanted to see this fight. Do-hyun stood calmly in the center. He wore the standard orange prison uniform, but now everyone could see how his muscles moved differently from other species, dense and powerful, shaped by Earth's crushing gravity. Rekthor entered the circle from the other side. His red scales had been polished until they shone. He had removed his prison shirt to show his impressive arm spikes and chest plates. To most species, he looked terrifying. To Do-hyun, he looked like someone who had never faced real danger. Before we start, Do-hyun said clearly, so everyone could hear, I want to teach you something about humans. I didn't come here for a lesson. Rekthor growled, but Do-hyun continued speaking. Humans have 3 special body systems that helped us survive Earth. First, we have adrenaline. Do-hyun held up one finger. When we're in danger, our bodies release chemicals that make us stronger and faster. The worse things get, the stronger we become. Some prisoners muttered at this. They had heard stories of humans fighting harder when injured. Second, we have endurance. Du Hyun held up another finger. Most species run until they're tired, then stop. Humans, we run until we reach our goal. On Earth, we hunted by chasing animals until they collapsed from exhaustion. We can fight for hours without stopping. Rekthor shifted uncomfortably. His species could only fight in short bursts. Third, and most important, Du Hyun held up a third finger. We have adaptation. Every time we face a challenge, our bodies and minds get stronger. The harder things become, the better we get at handling them. Enough talking. Rekthor roared and charged forward, his claws extended. Du Hyun didn't move until the last second. Then he shifted slightly, letting Rekthor's momentum carry him past. The alien's claws barely touched him. See the difference? Du Hyun asked the watching crowd. Rekthor is trying to end the fight quickly because his species evolved for short battles. But humans, he dodged another attack easily. We evolved for long battles. Rekthor attacked again and again. Each time, Du Hyun moved just enough to avoid serious damage. The alien's breathing grew heavy. His movements became slower. You're learning now, aren't you? Du Hyun said. Learning what Earth taught us. That strength alone isn't enough. That speed alone isn't enough. You need endurance. You need adaptation. Finally, Rekthor stood panting, his scales dulled with exhaustion. Du Hyun hadn't even broken a sweat. The difference between us isn't that humans are stronger, Du Hyun explained to everyone watching. It's that Earth never gave us a choice. We had to become strong or die. We had to learn to endure or disappear. We had to adapt or go extinct. He walked up to the exhausted Rekthor. But Earth taught us something else too. Something more important than fighting. He held out his hand to the alien. It taught us that those who survive must help others survive too. That real strength comes from lifting others up, not pushing them down. The yard was completely silent. Every prisoner and guard watched as Rekthor stared at the offered hand. Finally, the alien leader reached out and took it. I yield, Rekthor said quietly. The Deathworlder wins. No, Du Hyun corrected him. The human wins. And humans don't just win fights. We win hearts. As he helped Rekthor walk to the medical bay, Du Hyun knew that today's lesson would spread through the prison. The story of the human who could have destroyed his enemy, but chose to teach instead. The Deathworlder who proved that Earth's greatest gift wasn't the strength to fight, but the wisdom to know when not to. In the medical bay, Yoon treated Rekthor's injuries while Du Hyun sat nearby. The alien leader lay on the examination table, his red scales now a dull orange from exhaustion. Several of his gang members stood at the door, watching with a mixture of worry and curiosity. Your body is experiencing extreme fatigue, Yoon explained as she ran her scanner over Rekthor. On your homeworld, you would never need to fight for so long. The low gravity there means battles are usually quick and explosive. But humans, Rekthor said, his voice tired but interested, you fight differently. Why? Du Hyun moved closer to the examination table. Because Earth made us different. Imagine a world where the gravity is so strong that just walking takes effort, where the air pressure can crush you if you're not strong enough, where the temperature can change by 50 degrees in a single day. Rekthor's eyes widened. Such a world would kill my people instantly. It nearly killed humans too, Yoon added, applying a healing gel to Rekthor's strained muscles. But instead, it changed us. Every challenge made us stronger. Every problem forced us to adapt. Like the story of the burning mountains, Pip said from his corner. The small blue alien had been quietly cleaning, but now stepped forward. Is it true that humans live near mountains that spit fire? Volcanoes. Du Hyun nodded. Yes, we build cities near them. We even grow food in the rich soil they create. The aliens in the room looked at each other in amazement. Even Rekthor's gang members moved closer to listen. But the most dangerous thing about Earth isn't the gravity, or the weather, or even the volcanoes. Yuna continued, now showing them images on her medical screen. It's the life itself. Earth has millions of species, all fighting to survive. Many of them are predators that would consider your species easy prey. Yet humans survived. Rekthor said thoughtfully. More than survived. You became strong enough to join the galactic community, to travel among the stars. Because we learned the most important lesson, Do-hyun explained. Survival isn't just about being the strongest. It's about being the smartest, about working together, about teaching others what we've learned. Yuna finished her treatment and helped Rekthor sit up. Your muscles will be sore for a few days, but there's no permanent damage. Do-hyun was very careful not to hurt you seriously. I don't understand. One of Rekthor's gang members spoke up. If humans are so powerful, why don't you rule the prison? Why offer peace instead of taking control? Because Earth taught us something else too, Do-hyun said. The cost of violence. Our world was so harsh that we had to learn to help each other to survive. Fighting might make you feared, but cooperation makes you stronger. Rekthor stood up slowly, his scales beginning to regain their natural red color. He looked at Do-hyun with new respect. Perhaps we have been running our territory wrongly, using fear when we could have been building strength together. It's never too late to change, Yuna said, smiling. After all, if a species can survive on a death world like Earth, surely we can learn to make this prison a better place for everyone. As the aliens left the medical bay, talking among themselves about what they had learned, Pip approached Do-hyun. The stories are spreading through the prison, he said excitedly. But not about the fight. About what came after. About the human who teaches instead of threatens. The Deathworlder who heals instead of hurts. Do-hyun smiled. Maybe this was why humans had survived Earth's challenges. Not just because they were strong, but because they never stopped learning, never stopped teaching, and never stopped trying to make things better. 1 month after the fight, the Galactic Correctional Facility had changed in ways nobody expected. Do-hyun sat in the mess hall, but now his table wasn't empty. Rekthor sat across from him, and around them were aliens of different species, all eating together and talking. The new work program is going well, Rekthor said, his scales showing bright, happy colors. Many prisoners are learning new skills. The guards say fighting has dropped by half. Do-hyun nodded, remembering how this had started. After learning about human cooperation, Rekthor had used his influence differently. Instead of forcing others to serve him, he began organizing them to improve prison life. Warden Clicks wants to see both of you, Pip announced, hurrying up to their table. The small blue alien now moved openly through the prison, no longer afraid. Something about the education program. In the warden's office, Do-hyun and Rekthor stood before a large desk. Warden Clicks, a tall alien with silver skin and 4 arms, looked at them with all 3 of their eyes. Remarkable changes in the past month, the warden said, bringing up holographic charts. Fights down. Participation in education programs up. Even the food complaints have decreased. They focused all 3 eyes on Do-hyun. And it started with you, human, with a fight that didn't end in violence. Not just me, Do-hyun said, glancing at Rekthor. Everyone was ready for change. They just needed to see it was possible. The human way, Rekthor added, using strength to help, not hurt, working together instead of fighting, like they did on Earth. Warden Clicks nodded slowly, which is why I called you here. The prison board has approved new programs, education, job training, even sports designed for different species. They want you both to help run them. Sports? Rekthor asked, confused. On Earth, Do-hyun explained, we learned that friendly competition can make everyone stronger. Like how you and your gang now challenge others to endurance contests instead of fights. Yuna entered the office, carrying medical reports. "The health improvements are amazing," she said excitedly. "Prisoners are exercising more, eating better, even sleeping better. Some species are showing physical improvements we thought impossible." "The human effect," Warden Click said. "Your presence is pushing them to adapt, to become stronger, just like Earth pushed humanity. But not through fear," Do-hyun added. "Through inspiration. Through working together." Later, in the prison yard, Do-hyun watched aliens of different species exercising together. Some were learning human-style endurance training. Others were teaching their own species' strengths. Everyone was learning from each other. "They're calling it the Earth Method," Pip said, standing beside him. "Using challenges to grow stronger, but doing it together. Even other prisons are asking about it." "Dr. Park says we're making history," Rekthor added, joining them. "The first prison where Deathworlders and other species work together, instead of staying apart." Do-hyun smiled as he watched a group of aliens trying to do human-style push-ups, adjusting the exercise for their different body types. This was humanity's real strength, not just surviving Earth's challenges, but teaching others how to grow stronger from their own challenges. "What's next?" Rekthor asked. "What other Earth lessons can we share?" "The most important one," Do-hyun said, "that every day is a chance to become better. Earth never stopped challenging us, and we never stopped improving. That's the real human way." 6 months had passed since Do-hyun first arrived at the Galactic Correctional Facility. Today was his last day. He stood in the medical bay one final time as Yuna completed his exit examination. "Your readings are fascinating," she said, showing him the comparison charts. 6 months in lower gravity has made you even stronger. Your body adapted by building more muscle mass. Earth's lessons never stop, do they?" "Neither do ours," Do-hyun replied, looking through the window at the prison yard. Groups of aliens exercise together, each teaching others their species' strengths. The sight would have been impossible 6 months ago. Pip rushed in, almost tripping over his 4 feet in excitement. "The new prisoners are arriving. They're asking for you, Do-hyun. They say they heard stories about the human who changed everything." Do-hyun walked to the arrival area with Yuna and Pip. A transport ship had just docked, bringing new inmates from across the galaxy. As the new prisoners walked out, they stared at Do-hyun with recognition rather than fear. "Is it true?" one of them asked. "That you taught Rekthor's gang how to be better? That you showed everyone the Earth way?" "I showed them what humanity learned from Earth," Do-hyun corrected. "That strength comes in many forms. That working together makes everyone stronger. That adapting to challenges is better than fighting them." Rekthor appeared, his scales shining with healthy red colors. "And we continue learning," he said to the new prisoners. "Here, we don't just serve time. We grow stronger together, like humans did on Earth." Warden Clicks joined them, holding a datapad. "The prison board is impressed," they said. "Our success rate is the highest in the galaxy. Other prisons want to copy our programs. They're calling it the Earth Integration Method." "Because it works," Yuna added. "My research proves it. When species learn from each other, especially from Deathworlders like humans, they all become stronger. It's like Earth is still teaching us, through our memory of it." Do-hyun looked around at what the prison had become. The yard where he had fought was now an exercise area. The mess hall where he had faced down Rekthor was now a place where different species ate together, sharing stories. The medical bay had become a center for understanding different species' strengths. "But you're leaving," Pip said sadly. "What will happen when you're gone?" "The same thing that happened on Earth," Do-hyun said. "We'll keep adapting, keep learning, keep growing stronger together." As if to prove his point, a group of prisoners walked by, led by Rekthor. They were teaching new inmates the prison's ways, not through fear or violence, but through understanding and cooperation. "Your sentence is complete," Warden Clicks announced formally. "But your influence will remain. You've taught us that being the Deathworlder isn't just about survival. It's about helping others survive too. Do-hyun smiled as he prepared to leave. Earth had shaped humanity through countless challenges, making them stronger, faster, and tougher. But it had taught them something even more important: the power of working together, of teaching others, of turning enemies into friends. As he walked toward the transport ship that would take him home, Do-hyun heard the new prisoners asking Rekthor about Earth, about humans, about the strength that comes from facing challenges together. The story would continue, passed from prisoner to prisoner, spreading through the galaxy. Earth's greatest gift wasn't just the strength to survive. It was the wisdom to help others thrive. And in a prison among the stars, that lesson would live on.